Stop what you're doing right now. 50 Cent TS, the man who survived 9 gunshots, built a business empire and made a career out of humiliating his rivals, is reportedly breaking down in public. And why? Because King Harris, the 21-year-old son of T and Tiny Harris, just went full mad on social media and crossed a line no one thought anyone would dare. We're not talking about some petty Instagram clapback or a troll tweet. This is disrespecting 50 Cent's dead mother, the woman who was murdered when Curtis Jackson was just 8 years old. Can you imagine the audacity? The internet exploded overnight. Fans are outraged. Social media is on fire. Memes are being made faster than you can blink. And the question everyone's asking is, how far will this go? Is this just a viral stunt? Or are we watching a real personal war unfold between generations in hip-hop? In the next few minutes, we're breaking down every shocking clip, every leaked rumor, and every outrageous reaction that has turned a rap feud into one of the most controversial moments in music history. Buckle up, because things are about to get ugly. So let's start from the very beginning. Because if you think this is just another rap beef, you are in for a rude awakening. The drama started quietly, almost innocently, with what some might call a friendly musical challenge. But anyone who's ever watched T or 50 Cent knows that in the world of hip-hop, there is no such thing as friendly. It all begins with an idea, a spark, and then boom, the fire spreads. T, the self-proclaimed king of the South, has been itching for a versus showdown with 50 Cent for years. And this was finally the moment everyone was waiting for. Roar. So T thought. He appeared on Nightcap Live earlier this month, alongside Shannon Sharpe and Chad Usinko, and he made it very clear. He wanted 50 Cent to step up. He said it with that patented T confidence, the kind that has convinced millions over decades that he is untouchable, unstoppable, and, above all, fearless. But 50 Cent, the man whose Instagram fingers are sharper than any sword, didn't respond in kind. Instead, he stayed silent. Or so it seemed. T tried to paint it as a mutual respect thing. He spoke about celebrating catalogs, about the honor of pitting 2 legendary careers against each other. But 50 Cent, as always, took a different approach, trolling. Classic Curtis Jackson. Instead of a thoughtful, measured response, he dug up old clips of T, highlighting moments that could make him look foolish. There was a 2010 Crime Stoppers commercial where T.I.'s demeanor, according to 50 Cent, suggested snitch, and 50 Cent used it like a missile, launching it straight into social media, captioning it with that patented 50 Cent venom. I know Atlanta pick and choose who they support, but y'all got to do better. LOL. Keep my name out your mouth. And the crowd went wild. The feud escalated faster than anyone could have imagined. T fired back, claiming that 50 Cent was the real rat, that he had all the paperwork to prove it, that 50 had lost his respect. The tension was electric. Social media feeds were exploding with screenshots, memes, hot takes, and conspiracies. People were picking sides. Of course, some said T was overreacting, others said 50 Cent was disrespectful, and the rest were just grabbing popcorn. But no one could predict what would come next, because this is where the story turned from celebrity spat to personal vendetta. On February 22nd, 50 Cent did something that made the situation instantly combustible. He posted an unflattering image of Tiny Harris, T.I.'s wife. Tiny, of course, is not just T.I.'s wife. She's a Grammy-winning artist who carved her own legacy as a member of the legendary 90s R&B group Escape. She had done nothing to involve herself in this feud, but 50 Cent's post, cheeky as ever, forced the Harris family into an arena they never signed up for. And while many expected T to respond with fire, he did what a seasoned veteran does: measured, calculated, and strategic. He commented, "Direct but calm." But calm is not in the DNA of King Harris. King Harris, the 21-year-old son of T and Tiny, saw the post and lost it. And when I say he lost it, I mean he went nuclear. He grabbed his phone, went live, and unleashed words that nobody saw coming. He didn't just defend his mother. He didn't just fire a few expletives at 50 Cent. No. He referenced 50 Cent's deceased mother, Sabrina Jackson, over and over again, in a way that sent shockwaves through the internet. For context, 50 Cent's mother was tragically murdered when he was just 8 years old. There are no words that can fully explain the pain, the trauma, the void left in a young child's life when a parent is taken violently. And now, here was a 21-year-old on social media, telling 50 Cent to go dig up your dead mother as part of some social media war. The video went viral almost instantly. Every major hip-hop outlet picked it up. World Star Complex, All Hip Hop, you name it. Fans were stunned, divided, horrified, and curious all at the same time. Some said King Harris was just defending his mother, that anyone would do the same. Others said he had crossed a line that no one in hip-hop should ever cross, and in doing so, had painted a target on himself that could have real consequences. And then there were those who didn't care. They were just watching the spectacle unfold, laughing at the drama, sharing the clips, and commenting with every possible meme. Meanwhile, 50 Cent's response or lack of response was textbook Curtis Jackson. Anyone familiar with his history knows that he does not forget, he does not forgive, and he keeps receipts. Over the years, 50 Cent has handled feuds with Ja Rule, Diddy, and many others with a combination of calculated trolling, public humiliation, and in some cases, financial attacks. King Harris had just opened a door that 50 Cent rarely lets anyone open. And the worst part, King Harris is young. He's still building his name, his career, his credibility. He is not a mogul, not a legend, and not hardened by the same street experiences that shaped 50 Cent. But let's take a step back for a moment. This feud didn't start with King Harris. It didn't even start with Tiny Harris's image. It started with a versus challenge, a battle between legends and a disagreement over whether or not it would actually happen. T has been vocal about wanting this showdown for years. He's made it clear that he believes he has the talent, the catalog, and the charisma to go toe-to-toe with 50 Cent. 50 Cent, for his part, has been evasive, dismissive, and strategic. Instead of meeting T on musical ground, he's been tossing in clips, comments, and images designed to provoke. The tension has been simmering, and the moment the Harris family got involved, it boiled over. What makes this even more explosive is the multi-generational angle. T and 50 Cent are veterans, moguls, and public figures who know exactly how to handle conflict. King Harris, on the other hand, is the next generation. He grew up with cameras, social media, and viral moments being part of his daily life. He understands clout, attention, and engagement, but he doesn't necessarily understand the gravity of certain actions. And telling someone to dig up their deceased mother, that's more than clout. That's personal, dangerous, and unforgettable. The internet had a field day. Memes comparing King Harris to a young, reckless internet troll exploded. Tweets analyzed every frame of the video, speculating on King Harris's intentions, his future career, and what might happen next. Anonymous sources, of course, claimed that the Harris household was in chaos, that Tiny was furious, that T was trying to keep his son under control, and that private messages were flying back and forth like daggers. And yet, the more attention the story got, the more King Harris seemed to double down, feeding the fire with every clip, every comment, every expletive-laden rant. The stakes had officially changed. This was no longer about a versus battle. This was no longer just about old rivals squabbling for bragging rights. This was personal, emotional, and potentially catastrophic. T.I. had opted for the studio route, preparing diss tracks and music as his weapon of choice, while King Harris had opted for the camera and social media. The contrast could not have been more striking. Music is respected, measured, and permanent in a creative way. Social media rants are viral, impulsive, and potentially career-altering. And that brings us to the cultural tension here. Hip-hop thrives on conflict. From park battles to chart-topping albums, it's built into the DNA of the genre. But there are unwritten rules, lines that should not be crossed. Kids, dead parents, civilians, those are lines. And King Harris? He just ran full speed through all of them. The reactions were swift. The moral outrage, the shock, the disbelief, it all poured in within minutes. Headlines screamed, blogs exploded, and social media was ablaze. And through it all, 50 Cent. Silent, waiting, watching, planning, calculating. If there is one thing history has shown us, it's that Curtis Jackson never misses an opportunity. Every insult, every slight, every disrespectful moment becomes ammunition in his hands. And right now, King Harris has handed him something the public hasn't seen in years. A deeply personal, emotionally charged, highly provocative opening. The internet knows this. Fans are divided. Critics are analyzing every angle. And somewhere, 50 Cent is probably smiling behind the screen, because in this game, he is always 3 moves ahead. But while King Harris's video went viral, while memes circulated, while debates raged, T stayed strategic. Music, not chaos. A sneak peek of a diss track titled War surfaced, giving fans a taste of what could be coming. T.I.'s approach is classic. T.I.'s approach is classic. And rooted in the art of hip-hop. King Harris, meanwhile, continues to push boundaries in a world where attention is currency, not wisdom. The tension between measured legacy and impulsive youth has never been clearer. As the dust settled from King Harris's viral eruption, the internet was still reeling, and social media detectives went full Sherlock Holmes. Anonymous sources who claimed to have insider access to the Harris household began leaking exclusive details about what really went down behind closed doors. According to one supposedly credible tipster, I was pacing the studio like a general at war, carefully planning every lyrical strike, while King Harris was posting clips and ranting like a loose cannon, completely unchecked. T is furious but controlled, the source said. He's thinking 3 steps ahead. King, on the other hand, he doesn't even realize the kind of storm he just unleashed. And if you think this is just hype, consider this. The same source also alleged that King Harris had been offered media coaching, legal advice, even a social media strategist, all ignored in favor of the instant satisfaction of going live with personal attacks. Meanwhile, the public went wild. Hip-hop forums exploded. Twitter and X were ablaze with screenshots of King Harris's video, dissected frame by frame. One viral tweet read, "King Harris just committed social media manslaughter, and nobody is safe." Another read, 50 Cent isn't just gonna clap back. He's gonna write the history books after this. Memes ranged from King Harris as a reckless teenager with a grenade to dramatizations of 50 Cent looming over the internet like a vengeful titan. The irony wasn't lost. King Harris thought he was defending his mother, but in reality, he had made himself the main story, a lightning rod for both outrage and fascination. Leaked reports, some more believable than others, began circulating. One alleged that T had called an emergency meeting with close friends and family, discussing contingency plans. If 50 Cent responded in an extreme way, another source claimed that Tiny Harris had demanded King Harris remove the video immediately, calling it unnecessary, disrespectful, and dangerous. And while the credibility of these leaks is debatable, the drama only intensified because the public lapped it up. Every new post, every rumor, every viral clip added another layer to the story, turning what started as a battle of catalogs into a multi-generational showdown. Of course, 50 Cent didn't stay quiet for long. Though he had yet to directly address King Harris on social media, reports of quiet moves behind the scenes started leaking. Allegedly, 50 Cent consulted with his inner circle legal advisors, PR experts, and even music producers to strategize a response that would be devastating, calculated, and unforgettable. Imagine the headlines if 50 Cent were to release a track, specifically addressing the disrespect toward his mother, because, let's be honest, that's the kind of explosive content the internet lives for. The story had already evolved beyond entertainment. It had become a public morality play, forcing fans to question where loyalty, respect, and restraint intersect in hip-hop culture. The fallout didn't stop at social media. Imaginary investigative sources suggested that brands and sponsors were quietly monitoring the situation. Worried about the optics of being associated with a feud involving references to a deceased parent? "We've had calls from major companies," said one alleged insider. "They want to know how this affects public perception before they commit to any partnership with 50 Cent or even King Harris. They're worried about the backlash. This isn't your average beef." Whether true or not, it's easy to see why investors, partners, and publicists might be nervous. In the age of virality, one viral rant can turn into a reputational earthquake in minutes. Public reactions were split. On one side, hardcore fans of T praised King Harris for standing up for his mother. "If anyone disrespects your mom, you defend her. Period," read one viral comment. Another added, "He may have gone too far, but at least he has courage." On the other side, critics argued that King Harris had crossed a line that cannot be uncrossed. There's defending your mom, and then there's digging up trauma that's decades old and making it public for clout, wrote another commentator. Hip-hop veterans weighed in as well, warning of the dangerous precedent set by such personal attacks. "You never go after someone's deceased parent," said a fictional former label executive quoted by a blog. "It's a boundary that exists for a reason. Crossing it can end careers or worse." Then came the whispers about legal consequences. While no lawsuits were immediately filed, anonymous legal experts speculated that 50 Cent could theoretically pursue defamation or emotional distress claims against King Harris. The mere suggestion sent another ripple through the internet. Could a 21-year-old, even with the backing of famous parents, survive a legal battle with Curtis Jackson? The scenario alone was enough to keep gossip channels buzzing for days. And even if no legal action occurred, the potential for retaliation, musical, financial, or social, was massive. King Harris had stepped into a world where every action has consequences, and 50 Cent has historically turned consequences into victories. The breakdown of public opinion revealed something even more fascinating. Fans weren't just taking sides, they were creating elaborate narratives. Some suggested that King Harris's outburst was entirely scripted, a calculated publicity stunt to boost his own brand. Others argued that it was pure impulse, a youthful mistake amplified by the pressures of living in the public eye. Still others posited that T had intentionally allowed his son to go off as part of a larger multi-level strategy. "This is chess, not checkers." Read one viral thread, suggesting that every move from Tiny Harris's image to King Harris's rant was a piece in a complex theatrical game. And let's be honest, in a world where clout is measured in engagement, all publicity is good publicity. Until it isn't. Adding fuel to the fire were reports of lavish spending and over-the-top behavior allegedly tied to the feud. Fake insiders claimed that King Harris had been buying expensive cameras, lighting, and sound equipment just to produce professional-grade viral rants. They described him driving around LA in flashy cars, filming in front of luxury backdrops, all while casually dropping lines about 50 Cent's mother. Whether that's true or not, it plays into the narrative of a young heir to a hip-hop empire, overestimating his own influence and setting himself up for a public reckoning. Anonymous sources even claimed that social media algorithms were conspiring against him. Well, that's not entirely fake. In reality, the more people share, comment, and debate, the more platforms push the content. King Harris's video became a perfect storm, feeding into virality loops that no one could control. Meanwhile, rumors of potential diss tracks from T were circulating in the background, teasing fans with the possibility of a musical counterstrike. Sources claimed the studio was buzzing day and night, with producers crafting beats that could rival a minor earthquake in intensity. T, after all, isn't just a rapper, he's a strategist, a mogul, and someone who understands that timing and delivery can make all the difference at the same time. The moral debate escalated. Fans, journalists, and even casual observers started discussing what lines should exist in hip-hop beefs. Should children be involved? Should deceased parents be off? How far can disrespect go before it becomes socially unacceptable, even in a genre built on confrontation? Every post, every comment, every shared clip was a case study in modern social morality, all set against the backdrop of celebrity culture. And in this case, King Harris was the lightning rod. A 21-year-old caught between defending his family, gaining fame, and navigating a cultural minefield he may not fully understand. The simmering chaos from King Harris's viral rant has now reached full-blown inferno status. Social media algorithms have done their job, and the clip of him telling 50 Cent to dig up his dead mother is everywhere. You can't scroll for 5 seconds without seeing a screenshot, a reaction video, or a meme. Everyone's talking, tweeting, posting, debating, and most importantly, clicking. And while some fans are laughing, others are horrified, asking themselves, did King Harris really just go there? But the story isn't just online anymore. Rumors started leaking into traditional media outlets, gossip segments, and even late-night talk shows, elevating this from a social media spat to a cultural phenomenon. Meanwhile, 50 Cent has been lurking in the shadows, quietly analyzing every angle. According to the whispers that have now become almost mainstream news, Curtis Jackson has already begun plotting his counter-response. One anonymous source claimed 50 isn't just going to clap back. He's going to craft a response that will haunt the Harris family in the public eye. He's meticulous. He doesn't do impulsive rants. He calculates, he plans, he executes. And considering 50 Cent's track record, that's not a hollow threat. Fans remember his decade-long battles with Ja Rule, the relentless trolling of Diddy, and the social media domination over Rick Ross. Curtis has always had the uncanny ability to turn any personal attack into a media storm that benefits him. This time, however, the stakes are higher. A deceased parent is involved, and the internet never forgets. T, on the other hand, is reportedly doubling down in the studio. While King Harris has gone the social media route, T has chosen music, the time-tested, respected way to respond in hip-hop culture. Leaks from studio insiders suggest that T is working on a track that hits all the key points, defending his family, asserting dominance, and subtly warning 50 Cent that there's more than one way to deliver a blow. According to an unnamed producer source, the beat is hard-hitting, the bars are sharp, and the energy is apocalyptic. Fans are already predicting that when T drops this track, it will dominate streaming charts, trending sections, and inevitably news cycles. But music aside, the family aspect keeps the pressure cooker boiling. As this multi-layered feud continues, public reactions have evolved. Some social media users are now calling King Harris reckless but relatable, saying, he's young, he's angry, he's defending his mom. What would you do? Others, however, are warning of a backlash tsunami that could hit the Harris family hard. YouTube commentators have speculated that the viral nature of this clip could lead to financial, reputational, and even legal consequences, all of which the family will have to navigate carefully. Fake insiders claim brands and partners are already reconsidering deals, worried that association with such an explosive, deeply personal feud could harm their image. And let's be honest, in a world driven by clicks and impressions, this kind of drama is both a magnet and a hazard. Adding to the chaos, conspiracy theories and fake investigative reports began circulating, claiming that King Harris had been coached secretly by T to go viral. One report claimed, T allowed this to happen to set a media trap for 50 Cent. It's classic misdirection, he's letting the internet explode. So 50 responds publicly, and then T delivers musically. Another, equally outrageous, alleged that 50 Cent himself might stage A comeback strategy involving an unreleased verse, specifically addressing the Harris household? Whether these leaks are true, exaggerated, or completely fabricated, they all serve to keep the story trending. And when it comes to viral content, perception often becomes reality. Meanwhile, the tone of the internet began shifting. What started as shock and outrage is now blended with curiosity, speculation, and even dark humor. Memes depicting King Harris in a gladiator helmet facing a towering 50 Cent or 50 Cent's shadow looming over LA with the words "respect is earned" have flooded social media. The story is evolving into a multi-layered narrative, blending family drama, celebrity rivalry, and generational conflict, the ingredients for the perfect viral storm. One particularly vivid thread even suggested that this feud could redefine social media dynamics in hip-hop forever. The idea that a 21-year-old could provoke one of the most ruthless competitors in music history is, for some, exhilarating and terrifying at the same time. Behind the scenes, rumors of potential consequences continue to swirl. Anonymous sources allege that lawyers, PR teams, and even security details are on standby, ready to manage whatever might come next. The possibility of lawsuits, restraining orders, or even public confrontations has fans speculating wildly. Some imagined scenarios include 50 Cent releasing a diss track directly aimed at King Harris, T responding with a second track, and the internet erupting in a feedback loop of outrage, humor, and commentary. The sheer magnitude of speculation is unprecedented for a beef that started with a simple versus challenge discussion. Meanwhile, the emotional weight of the situation cannot be understated. King Harris's comments struck a nerve because they were deeply personal, referencing a tragic part of 50 Cent's life. 50 lost his mother, Sabrina Jackson, at just 8 years old, a trauma that shaped the man, the rapper, and the mogul he would become. By dragging that into the public eye, King Harris has not only provoked 50 Cent, but also forced fans to confront the boundaries of public discourse in hip-hop. Suddenly, the conversation isn't just about music or competition, it's about respect, legacy, and morality. As the story develops, the role of the media becomes pivotal. Blogs, gossip channels, YouTube commentary, and even mainstream outlets are now covering this feud as if it were a geopolitical crisis. Every new detail, every leaked quote, every imagined insider tip is dissected and analyzed, fueling speculation and engagement. One source even suggested that streaming platforms are monitoring the feud for potential exclusive content opportunities, imagining live reactions, interviews, and behind-the-scenes footage as monetizable events. The entire saga has morphed into a full-blown entertainment ecosystem, blurring the lines between reality, performance, and spectacle. Adding yet another layer. Fan communities are now actively debating the ethics of King Harris's actions. Has he gone too far? Or is he justified? Should 50 Cent respond publicly, musically, or legally? Can T control the narrative? Or has he inadvertently lost control to social media? Each answer spawns another question. Each rumor breeds another debate. The situation has created a self-perpetuating cycle of speculation, outrage, and fascination that is unlikely to subside anytime soon. As Part 3 moves toward climax, the tension between calculated strategy and impulsive reaction becomes the defining dynamic. King Harris has acted in the moment, emotionally charged and raw. T.I. is deliberate, crafting responses with precision. 50 Cent, ever the tactician, is waiting for the perfect moment to unleash a response that could leave the internet in awe, shocked, and possibly fearful. Every player in this unfolding drama is aware that the next move could define reputations, careers, and legacies. It's a multi-generational chess game, with social media as both battlefield and audience. And now, as the world watches, the question becomes, how far will this go? Will King Harris continue to escalate? Will T.I.'s diss track drop and shift the narrative? Will 50 Cent finally step out of the shadows and respond in a way that reshapes the conversation entirely? Or will cooler heads prevail, restoring some measure of respect, sanity, and perspective to a feud that has spiraled from musical rivalry into something profoundly personal and globally visible? At this point, the saga has evolved beyond music, beyond social media, and beyond even celebrity gossip. It has become a study in power, perception, and human emotion in the digital age. Every second, every comment, every viral clip is another piece of the puzzle, another spark in the fire. The Harris family, 50 Cent, and the wider public are now participants in a narrative that refuses to stay contained. And as we wait for the next act, one thing is clear. This feud has already left an indelible mark on hip-hop culture, social media dynamics, and the public imagination. The internet is watching. The fans are engaged, the media is dissecting, and the players, they are moving strategically, emotionally, and explosively. What began as a potential versus matchup has escalated into a full-scale drama involving family, legacy, viral outrage, and generational tension. Every post, every leak, every reaction is now part of the story, feeding a cycle that seems almost unstoppable. And while some hope this escalates into music and performance, others fear the consequences could be deeper, darker, and more far-reaching than anyone imagined. So, what happens next? That's the million-dollar question, and honestly, nobody knows. Will 50 Cent drop a response that shatters the internet? Will T.I.'s diss track ignite a lyrical war that has fans screaming in excitement or horror? And King Harris? Is he about to learn that some lines once crossed can't be uncrossed? The social media universe is watching every move, every comment, every leaked snippet, waiting for the next explosion.